Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and it's good to be back after a short absence on parliamentary business. Firstly, a request for a debate on conventions of this House. Normally, my honourable friend from Aberdeen South would have responded in the Prime Minister's NATO statement today, but as we weren't given any advance notice of this important statement, unlike His Majesty's loyal opposition, he was unable to be in his place to respond. There is a conventional expectation to be notified beforehand. We should be made aware beforehand to ensure we can scrutinise the government properly, so can she also take this up with her government? While I was away, I noticed the leader had a day trip to Scotland. I hope she received the kind of warm welcome we always give to people visiting from afar. On her very brief visit, she will have been in a nation where not a single day has been lost in the health service to strikes, where the government and teachers got together and negotiated a deal, a nation where there is no profit motive when you turn the tap on for water in your home, where water quality is amongst the best in Europe, where social policies like the Scottish child payment have been universally welcomed, where unemployment is lower than the UK and economic growth faster, and where we continue to attract levels of FDI second only to London. On her return to this place, she, like me, was no doubt depressed to be back under a regime that has given Scots the catastrophe of Brexit against our will, a debt burden greater than our entire GDP, crippling increases in mortgages and rents and food prices, and the expectations of the highest tax burden in Britain since the Second World War by 2027-28. What a great thing it is to be governed by people so incompetent they can't spend £1.9 billion on desperately needed housing in England. I do hope, by the way, devolved nations can keep their Barnetised share of that, as we will certainly use it, and apparently can't tell the difference between decriminalisation and legalisation as Scotland's government tries to take action to address drug deaths, because the current approach of criminalising users advocated by her government clearly isn't working. Could we, therefore, finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, have time for a debate on the government's progress on its 5 doomed pledges? And as always, Madam Deputy Speaker, I ask the leader to answer the question first before she reads out her next leadership bid video script.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I shall be laser-focused on what the Right Honourable Lady raises. First of all, let me point out that she is incorrect. There has been some incorrect reporting with regard to £1.9 billion being handed back to the Treasury from DLUC. That is not the case. That the bulk of that spend still sits with that department. The Honourable Lady will know that we have delivered 2.3 million additional homes since 2010, the lion's share of which are affordable homes. Our current build rate is up 108% compared to when we first took power, and I think that is important to point out, and I thank her for allowing me to correct that incorrect line that has been running. I would say to her, I think she is slightly delusional regarding the SNP's record. She talks about trying to tackle drug deaths. You have the worst. The SNP have the worst record of managing this problem, the worst record of drug deaths in Europe, and also do not fare well with regard to water pollution. I think this may have been a reason why the SNP have put out a complaint about the DEFRA Secretary, wanting her to go to Hollywood to be drilled by their colleagues there. But it is this House that will hold the Secretary of State to account, and so her colleagues will have to enjoy their biscuits without coffee in Hollywood, which makes for a nice change from their Westminster colleagues, who I understand have been having a lot of meetings with their chief whip with coffee but without biscuits. On the final point that the Honourable Lady raises with regard to the statement today, I shall look into that because it is a courtesy and people should expect to be able to see statements in advance. The Honourable Lady did a very good job of filling in for her colleague, but they were probably wanting to be here, and I certainly would have liked to have heard what questions they would have asked. The SNP, after all, which wishes to have an independent Scotland in NATO, do not realise that that is incompatible with their position on nuclear weapons, as stated by the former First Minister. It is also incompatible with the fudge on this issue that the current First Minister has proposed and that is in the SNP's white paper on this matter. And I would take this opportunity, again, I thank the Honourable Lady for forwarding me it, to remind all honourable members that if you pay lip service to the deterrent, if that is all you do, if you waver in your total commitment to it, if you are no longer credible, it ceases to become a deterrent. And when it ceases to become a deterrent, we become a target.